following the devil and the devil's methods. God have mercy on you evangelists that haven't got enough guts to preach the truth. I quote this girl from Washington Square where thousands gather to hear her. She says, and I quote, God isn't a sadist. He loves you sinners. How can anyone enjoy the pleasures of heaven if he hasn't experienced the pleasures here on earth? So speaking of a former burlesque stripper who recently started what she calls a religious movement to save the world, because she said the church hasn't done it. The church hasn't done it with its cold, dead, dry modernism. But she says, I'm going to save the world through sex and sin. A tall, raven-haired female with otherworldly physical proportions. Don't think she hasn't got them. Listen to this. She adopted the name Sister Marlene, believing that the human race needs more love and more laughter. She intends to travel throughout the world, wherever sinners exist, and provide both of these commodities. Listen to this. Officially, Sister Marlene's crusade opened here in October the 27th in New York City's Washington Square Park, as onlookers cheered the voluptuous, that means buxom, breasty, chesty, is that the word? Evangelist, they call her, mounted a stage to conduct her version of a religious service. Are you listening? Wearing a low-cut blouse and a thigh high. Where's your thigh at? Where's your thigh? Well, I have a picture of it, but I wouldn't want some of you to see it. A skirt up to her thighs, calling herself an evangelist, a miniskirt. Sister Marlene led the congregation, listen to this, in hymn singing accompanied by folk singing, guitars, and tambourines, and she preached. Said what? I advocate sinning openly. God wouldn't have given us bodies if he didn't want us to use them. There's too much empty religion in the world and not enough real faith. She's got something here. She's got something here. Run-of-the-mill preachers keep talking about getting to heaven through the pearly gates. Well, I say there's a back door to heaven, too. We sinners can use it, and God will welcome us. Other people preach fear and guilt. If anything is obscene, that is. I believe that folks should stop fighting and arguing and start making love with each other. Maybe then there wouldn't be any wars. And as their audience watched in awe, some stunned, others nearly beside themselves with religious fervor, and a few outraged at Sister Marlene's unorthodox receipt for salvation, the busty beauty closed out her save-in, as she termed it, by saying, are you listening? She said, it's time a female saved the world. The Lord's been good to me. You can see it. There she is showing everybody how good God's been to her. Don't you think that people won't go for this? The Lord's been good to me. You can see it. And I want to repay him. I'm going to take over all your problems. I'm going to take all your problems to my bosom and sleep in them. And sleep on them. A few days later, Sister Marlene met with the Star Chronicle for an exclusive interview, and the overwhelmingly beautiful as we found her. The most striking quality of this young woman is her directness, her sincerity, and the confidence she has that her word is true and valid for all people. Some of what I preach may sound like put on, she said. May I read a little more? But I mean every word. I can't stand hypocrisy. People naturally want to have sex and be free to drink and gamble if that's to their liking. The state should not legislate morality. Rather, if anything, the government should legalize such things as gambling and prostitution and charge a sin tax. That way, everyone would have fun, and the proceeds could go toward building roads and relieving poverty. She says further, everyone sins. Those who are in high government positions. Preachers sin. Clergymen sin. Priests sin. Everyone sins. But unfortunately, the moralists do it in private and condemn those who sin publicly. But in my opinion, those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. What? They should get stoned and have some fun. Have I read enough? I'm not through. I want you to compare that. I want you to compare these pictures with this stripteaser. Hold this. I want you young people to see this. Now I'm going to pull out a Methodist pastor's wife. In the Methodist church. They call her Mrs. Marjorie Janney, a Methodist pastor's wife. And here's a picture of her. She doesn't have as much clothes on as this harlot here in this newspaper. But she says she's packing them in the church. So why complain? There she is.
The sin and the shame.
Sister Marlene, read the headline.
Cool off. I'm filling the church, so why complain?
The minister's mini-skirted wife hits back at the gossips. May I read just a little bit of it? Here is a picture of her at 5 o'clock in the morning with a 17-year-old boy, sharing the fun of these said kids, mini-skirted Methodist wife. She says she's packing them into the Methodist church and said, why should people gossip about her? She said, I'm filling the church. Why don't they leave me alone? I'm not sure she's filling the church. I would call it a brothel. And in plain language, I would call it a whorehouse. Can I talk like this in church? Why? They do three things in this Methodist place. They talk only about sex and about the pill and about premarital relations. She said, you'd be surprised what I believe about premarital relations. She said, I see nothing wrong, and I advocate it and encourage young people having sex relations with each other if it's with the right person at the right time. So 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning in this Methodist manse, packed with teenagers doing what? Well, she said it's much cheaper than sending them to a motel or a hotel. Said it's decent if they do it in church. Listen to me. I'm through in a moment. What am I trying to get at? This is a new path